Okay, we're going to go to Inventor Axis tutorial. Alright, we're going to create a new part using the standard.ipt, change the measurement. We're going to select the YZ plane this time, just changing it up a little bit. And we're going to dimension a circle. We're going to create a circle, then dimension it. We're going to sketch a circle on the face of a cylinder, just like that. And the next thing we'll do is we're going to remove some material. So what we're going to do is we're going to start cutting away. We're going to use the command cut there, the second button when we extrude stuff. So it's Extruded Cut is what we're going to call it. And you'll extrude a certain amount at each time. So what you're going to do is keep chipping away, just like on a lathe. If you had a piece of wood spinning on a lathe, and then you just take a chisel and chisel away a section of wood, that's what you're doing the whole time. But you're going to do it digitally here. And so the final, I'm going to call it the birthday cake or the wedding cake. So it looks like this. All right. So this is the final parts. All right. Let's do this in less than 15 if possible. That would be great. All right. So a lot of you have caught on so far to how this starts. It's pretty straightforward. I'm just going to go through the steps here. So just read these first few as you read along with me on your papers. So let's go to File, New, Standard.ipt. Okay, and then you're going to change the unit of measurement and you're going to make sure it's millimeters. And I think I already have it as millimeters, but I want to make sure you do. So Tools, Document Settings, Units, and up it's inches. See, you can't count on it to be saved. So change it to millimeters, not feet, millimeters. And then click Apply. Okay. Now we're going to create a 2D sketch. So we go back to the 3D model ribbon right here and click Start 2D Sketch. Not the XY plane, not the XZ plane, but the YZ plane is what I want to click on. So I'm going to click on that here. Alright, so we're going to choose the circle tool, just like always, and click the origin, drag out, click again to lock it in place. Alright, so now we're going to release the mouse and move it back up, and move it up and click the mouse again to the lock. Okay, we've already locked it, so we're good. I'm just reading along. Now we're going to the next section, which is dimension the circle. And it says select the dimension tool on the ribbon bar, dimension it to 30, finish sketch, extrude 80 millimeters, and then if your part disappears from the graphics window, click the home button to bring it back to view, or click front on the view cube. Alright, so let's do that. So we're going to select the dimension tool on, that's this right here on the sketch toolbar, you see that? Alright, so this is the ribbon. And we're going to dimension the circle 30 millimeters. So we click on the circle. It's 20.544. That's what I had. You probably have something different, I'm sure. So we're going to click 30 millimeters. I'm going to click the home button just so I can see everything here. And we're going to click Finish Sketch. Now we're going to extrude the sketch 80 millimeters. So it says depth. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this direction that way, and I'm going to make it like, instead of coming out this way, I'm going to make it go back that way just for depth. And so you could choose any one of these tools here, but this is what I'm going to use. So 80 millimeters here, and so I'm going to click the check mark there and click home button. So you should have exactly what I have here on your paper. So you see how this looks like a tube. I've made the circle blue here on the end just by clicking the end right there and highlighting it. And so if your part disappears from the window, just make sure you always click the home button just like that. Alright, so we're going to sketch circle number 1 on the face of the cylinder. So that's this section right here. It says we're going to create a 2D sketch. Click on the front face of the cylinder, sketch a circle, dimension the circle to be 25 millimeters. Click offset, and then we'll follow I'll come back to this stuff here. So you'll see offset here. Okay, so there's offset on the toolbar on the ribbon. So let's go back, and we're going to click to create 2D sketch or start 2D sketch. Click on the front face of the cylinder. It says right there, but okay. Let's do that. Let's click on the front face of the cylinder. So there's the front face of the cylinder, so that's not what we want. So if yours is different, then instead of reading what this says exactly and following it exactly, that actually should say right side of the cylinder if you're following along with me. Okay, and so we're going to sketch a circle at the origin. So you saw how I did that. So I click circle, I highlight the origin green there, click again, and I want that to be 25 millimeters. So just to double check that dimension, I want to make sure that's 25 millimeters. So we click dimension and hit check mark, and we're done. Now we're going to click, it says right here, we're going to follow these steps. It says click offset, click the circle you just sketched. It should be blue or purple, and then you're going to type the number 55. Press enter and click finish sketch. So we're going to go to sketch, and we're going to go offset, and offset is located right here under sketch, modify, and then right here where it looks like a little, I don't know, maybe a pipe, and it's got like 2 lines, you know, it's separated there by a distance. It says duplicate selected sketch geometry and dynamically offsets it from the original. So by default, the offset constrains geometry selected as a loop equidistant from the original geometry. You can offset individual curves, right click and clear check marks on loop select and constrain offset. You can dimension and offset. I'm just reading it off of the thing. So if you'll notice right there, the red, if you offset a certain amount, then the red can have a similar looking line separated by a certain amount. So that's what we need. And so we're going to click offset, then we're going to click the circle, and then it says my circle should be blue or purple there, and I'm going to type the number 55. Oop, 55. And then push enter. And so I have a really large circle based off of that. So if I go click the home button, you should look like what I have here. It's got a big circle based off the middle there. Okay. Alright, so next we're going to click finish sketch. I forgot to do that, so click finish sketch. Now we're going to remove material from the outside part using the extruded cut. Let's see, let me show you what I'm looking at here. Remove the material from the outside part using extruded cut. Choose the extrude command, so choose the second button cut, and then click the offset circle. That's this big blue in there. It should be blue or purple when you click it, and then enter 55 for the depth, and press OK and enter. So let's go back here just a second. So let's go follow this. It says choose extrude command, so I'm going to go to 3D model extrude, and then I'm going to choose the second button, which is cut, this one right here, okay? Not the first one that says join. You want this one right here that says cut. Alright, so click the offset circle, that's this one right here, and it should turn blue or purple. So look, if you look at my screen, this thing should look very similar to that. So it's hard to read that, but it's got some red on there also. Okay, so enter 55 millimeters for the depth and click OK. So I'm going to hit 55 millimeters for the depth and click OK. Alright, and so you should look just like that. This right here, so let's see what ours looks like. Looks fine there. So now just to kind of reiterate what we just did, in the beginning we set the extrusion out to be 80. Now we've got we've cut away some material 55 millimeters back. So there's 80 minus 55 difference there. Okay, and so let's go and flip this over and talk about the next section. Alright, so now we're going to sketch a circle number 2 on the face of the cylinder, just like we did before, and this time we're going to dimension the circle 20 and then click offset, and then we'll go from there. You'll see how this works. So it's pretty straightforward. So we'll click start 2D sketch, click the circle again just like we did. Now go to the sketch tab, and let's click on circle, go to the origin, and you're going to dimension this 20 millimeters, okay, just like that. So you see we've got concentric rings here, just like on a target, like if you're going to shoot an arrow right at the target. Alright, so now it says to, we've already dimensioned the circle 20 millimeters, and then we're going to click offset again, the same button that we did earlier. And we're going to click the circle you just sketched. It should be blue or purple, and then type the number 40 this time. Alright, so we're going to click offset, click the circle we just checked, and I'm going to type in 40 and hit enter. So you should have another big circle. Let's see if I can pull this up. Alright, you should have another big circle based off of that, just like this one right here. Okay? So your symbols should look a lot like that. Now click finish sketch. Now we're got a few more. We're over halfway now. So removing material from the outside of the part. Let me show you what I'm looking at here. Removing material from the outside of the part using extruded cut. So we're going to extrude and cut again. This time we're going to go, instead of 50, whatever it was a minute ago, I think it was 55. Now we're going to do 40. All right, millimeters in depth. So we're going to follow these steps here. So we're going to click 3D model, no, I'm sorry, sketch, then scratch that, oops. So we click 3D model, click extrude, click the circle that we just used, and now we got to make sure the direction is correct here. So you see how it was facing this way. We're going in depth here. So now we're going to change the distance to 40 millimeters, and so we should look like this here. You see how the depth is going backwards that way instead of coming out this way. So we're going 40 millimeters. Now click OK, and then we should look a lot like what we have here. So we've got two stacks of I guess a wedding cake, and then one long still there. Alright, so we're going to sketch the next circle. So we just keep chipping away at this. One was 55, one was 40. So you see how the concentric rings are in there still. Alright, so we're sketching the third circle. So start 2D sketch, click the end of the circle, click your circle tool, open that up, and change it to 16 millimeters. 16 millimeters. Alright, it looks like tree rings now. I'm going to zoom in on this. We had one way on the outside, 2, 3, 4. Now we're 16 in diameter in millimeters. Now we're going to click offset again. So sketch, offset. That's under sketch, modify, offset. So we click the circle that we just clicked earlier. Now we're going to offset that 25 millimeters. 16 plus 25, I guess. Alright. Click home to make sure we can see what we're doing here. So I'm going to follow along with this. We should look something like this. We'll get to that point in just a minute. But remember, we just clicked offset. Now we've got to go through the next couple of steps, which it says click finish sketch. Don't forget to click finish sketch there. You got to have that done before you can extrude. So now we're going to remove material from the outside of the part. Watch this as I go. Using extruded cut again, so we're going to extrude cut just like before, but this time we're going to go 25. Alright, last time we went 40, right? So we're going to go 25 this time in depth. Alright, so we're going to go extrude, click the circle that we just clicked. Notice it's going the wrong direction, so I'm going to change the direction to 2, and I want that to be up. You know what I forgot to do? I forgot to say extrude cut. You remember the second button there? Click that second button. That's why it looked like that, okay? Alright, so now we're going to change that to 25 millimeters. Alright. I had an error there. Let me see if I can fix it. Okay, now make sure both of your circles here are blue or purple there. So I'm going back and looking at what the issue was. So I'm going to extrude again. I click finish sketch. I'm at this circle here. I'm going to extrude this circle. Make sure you click cut right there like I didn't do earlier. Click there on the circle that you just offset. So we had a 16 millimeter circle. Now we are offsetting at 25 millimeters in every direction. And so now you're going